Hello, good morning. How you doing? This is Rich Harshaw with Monopolizer Marketplace. We're here for our Insiders Open Forum, as you can clearly see on your screen. And we are here to talk about the topics that you want to talk about. This is a participation webinar / call, and we will talk about what you want to talk about. Hang on one second. Okay, I'm back. So with that said, we did have a couple of people that had submitted some questions before the call. I do not see those people in my queue, so we will do one of two things. We will wait for them, or we will see if the people that are on the call have anything that they want to talk about. Again, this is a participation call. If you want to participate, all you have to do is either raise your hand on the console or type something into the question thingy-majigger, and that will let me know that you have a question. So either one of those ways would be a okay way to participate. And if we'll go a couple minutes if we don't have any participators, which I don't have any just yet, or if those who had pre-submitted don't show up, then we will disband, I guess. So I do see several of you on the call. Any of you have something that's on your mind? Sales, marketing, advertising, innovation, any particular specific subjects you want to talk about? I'd be happy to address those issues. So please feel free to raise your hand. I do see Panita just dialed in, and you are one of the people that had a question about referrals. So if you will do me a favor, and you will need to hit your audio pin so that we can hear you. Right now you're not in an unmutable situation. In other words, I can't unmute your line. You've got to hit the audio pin first. And for you, Panita, that would be pound 108 pound in that precise order, pound 108 pound. Everybody has their own unique audio pin, but that is yours. So if you will hit that, that will allow me to hear you. Otherwise, it's going to be hard for us to talk about it. So Panita, I know you have a referral question. If you would please hit your audio pin, then we'll be able to have that conversation. Meanwhile, I'd like to say hello to Arnie and Rich, some of our MCAs of long tenure. Good to have you on here. And let's see, Panita, still can't get through to you. Can you enter your audio pin into your phone? Again, okay, let's see. Oh, hey, hi, Arnie. Again, your audio pin is pound 108 pound. Yeah, I see your hand is up, Panita, but I can't talk to you because the audio pin does not, either you haven't put it in properly or it's not working. Tell you what, we'll give you just a second if you want to redial in. Oh, there we go. Nope. Yep. Nope. Nope. Okay. Boy, when I said redial in, she just hung right up. We'll give her just a second here, folks. Sorry for the delay, but it's the proverbial is what it is. Okay, there. I see you've come back in, Panita. And you'll just need to dial your audio pin and we'll be able to talk to you. Otherwise, you're going to have to type your question in, which is also a legitimate way to get it into me. Okay, your audio pin has changed since you hung up and dialed back in. It's pound 112 pound, pound 112 pound. Okay, there you go. There you go. There, now you should be able to talk and we should be able to hear you. Go ahead.
Hello?
Hello, I can hear you.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I'm not sure what the problem was, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name right. Why don't you tell me how to pronounce your name properly?
It's Panita.
Panita. I think that's what I said.
You know, I couldn't hear you until right now. I actually thought it was going to be like a regular webinar sort of thing, and I'm like, oh, it wants me to dial. I'm like, that's weird.
Yes, brand new insider members sometimes don't really understand the protocol. Sorry about that. We probably should do a better job explaining it.
That's why I entered in and out a couple times. Sorry about that.
Okay, well, it's good to have you with us, both on this call and as a new insider. And I understand you've got some referral-based topics to talk about.
I do, actually. Hold on, let me grab my email that I had sent out. We've been sending out kind of, when I send out the warranty information after a job's complete, when I send out the warranty information, enclosed in that package is also a survey, just, you know, rating us on how we did, you know, on their project and everything. And at the bottom, we have like a little area that says, you know, for you to insert your referrals. And that hasn't really been working out that well for us. And so we were wondering if you guys had any suggestions. I had forwarded the email of the letter that we normally send out to the homeowners along with the warranty to Judy. I'm not sure if
I've actually received that just a minute ago. So let me put that on the screen.
Oh, let me go back to the screen. Okay, hold on. Do you mind if I put you on speaker?
No, I don't mind.
Okay, perfect, because then that way Greg can hear from his office too.
Hold on. Not a problem at all.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got the letter here. It says, "Don't take a chance, go a chance."
That's our little logo, or a motto.
Okay. We'll call it your slogan.
Yes.
I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to complete your home improvement project. Shands Home Improvement prides itself on customer satisfaction and quality work. I trust that you will enjoy home improvements for many years to come and hope you will allow us to consult with you for any work in the future. Now, here's the problem with that statement. Inherently, in and of itself, it doesn't say anything wrong or bad or offensive or anything like that. But the reality is, it is such an expected thing to say. I mean, let's read it word by word here. We pride ourselves on customer satisfaction and quality work. I trust that you will enjoy your home improvements for many years to come. This is communication that really has no substance to it. I mean, yeah, we hope that you enjoy your project, but it's something that as people read it, here's what they're doing. They're saying to themselves, and this is all on a subconscious level. They're not thinking through this consciously, but you're giving them cues to say, oh, this is a throwaway letter. There's really nothing in here that's important. Let's go to the next one. In order for us to assure that we are meeting our company goals, please take a couple of minutes to provide feedback about the project we completed in our company as a whole. This will allow us to evaluate ourselves. Shands offers an 8-year labor warranty on your roof. Keep in mind, Shands is a full service construction. Here's what we offer. And so there's a card in here, which is right here. And then is there a place on here for the referrals? Yes.
It's all the way at the bottom.
Yep. Okay, I see that. Now, here's the first thing that you've got to understand, and this is my first article of faith as it relates to referrals. It's okay to ask for referrals at the time of sale or the time of completion of the project. To me, those two things are the same, basically, okay? It's okay to ask for referrals then, and it's okay to offer a reward like you're doing here, but don't expect it to work a lot. And the reason is that if you ask somebody, hey, do you know anybody that needs this kind of stuff done? Their honest to goodness answer probably is no. They probably don't know somebody that needs it. And by way of... I
talked to Greg about that yesterday, and I had told him that if you were to ask me, I wouldn't know anybody right off.
Well, let's say that I just took my daughter to get braces or something like that, and then you ask me, well, who else do you know that needs braces? Well, I know lots of people that have teenage kids, but I really have no idea what their braces status is at all. I don't have any idea whatsoever. So if you said, oh, well, just write down all the names of all the parents of teenage kids that you know. Well, I'm not going to do that. Why would I do that? That's dumb. I'm not going to tell the orthodontist to go call those people. So the point is, people, generally speaking, really don't know anybody that needs that. Now, that's article of faith number 1. Here's article of faith number 2. It's still worthwhile to have a referral program, but we've got to understand that the majority of the referrals that you're ever going to get are going to come later on after the job is completed when the topic of what you sell naturally comes up in conversation that people have with their friends. So it's more important to make sure that you stay in front of them on an ongoing basis and really just stay in front of them. I mean, think about this for a minute. This is hard for people to understand and believe. A lot of people, they don't even believe me when I say this, but you have to believe me when I say this. It's true. I guarantee you, how many jobs do you do in a month?
Ooh.
Roughly.
15 to 20.
Okay, so let's call it 20. If we took a random 10 customers from a year ago and we were able to track them down somehow, and we were able to do it in an environment where it wasn't obvious that we were trying to do a survey. Let's say that we just, I don't know how we would make this happen, but just go with me on the spirit of the point here. If we were to ask them, hey, do you remember that job you had done last year? Roofing, whatever it was? They would say, yeah. Say, what was the name of the company that did it? And out of those 10, there's going to be a percentage of them that say, let's see, who was it again? And they're not going to know.
They're not going to remember, right?
It might be 5% or 10%. I guess 10, if it's 10, it has to be an even number 10. It might be 20%. It might be 30 or 40%. It might be as high as 50%. And obviously, some people are going to love you, and they're going to say, oh, man, it was Chance, and they were awesome. And there's going to be others that have filed their roof that you did for them in the file called stuff that I had to get done, and somebody came and did it, and now I'm moving on with my life, and I don't want to think about it anymore.
Exactly.
Right?
Okay.
And then there's going to be other people that, you know, for instance, the orthodontist. Just not to say that you're an orthodontist, obviously you're not. But I've got 6 kids. 2 of them have already been through braces. One of them's almost done. One is completely done. One's almost done. And I've got 2 more that need it right now. Now, ask me this question. Who's my orthodontist for my kids? You know what the answer is?
Who?
I don't have any idea. You know why? I never take them there. I don't ever deal with it. My wife could tell you. She'll tell you all about it, who it is and if she likes them and all that kind of stuff. I don't even know who it is. I have no cognition at all. Now, that's a problem. Because here's what's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen is over time, it's going to naturally occur that the conversation is going to turn to roofs if somebody is thinking about roofs. It comes up like this. Oh, man, that hailstorm that came through, or, hey, that, you know, we had that rainstorm last week. We had a huge leak, and it got all over our floor, and it caused all kinds of problems. That's going to naturally come up. Or, oh, my gosh, my kid has got to get braces, and we don't know if we can afford it. Those types of conversations just naturally come up among humans. And what we want to make sure happens is that when that conversation naturally occurs, we want to make sure that, number one, they remember who we were, and number two, they have a positive remembrance of who we were so that the referral can occur, okay? And that's what's probably already happening. I mean, I'm assuming if you're doing 20 jobs a month or 200 a year or something like that, that you already get referrals that you didn't really try to get. They just came. True enough?
Absolutely.
And one way to look at that is, well, there's a natural occurrence of referrals that's going to happen, and, you know, that's just what it is, and there's not a lot we can do about it. Here's what I think we can do about it. Continue to ask. I think you could ask perhaps in a more powerful way right here on this letter, but probably it's not going to make that much difference. So we could sit here and spend a lot of time and effort trying to rehaul this card right here to make it give you more referrals, and it's probably not going to make a whole lot of difference. But here's what is going to make a difference, a couple things. So you ready to jot down a couple of notes?
That's what I'm doing now. Go ahead.
Note number one, and you guys are brand new customers, so you're very, very familiar with this concept because it's very fresh. Identity. Identity is the key issue to getting referrals. Why? Because if people do business with you and they know exactly who you are and why they should do business with you and what they can expect, and you actually live up to what your identity is, then it's going to make a lot more powerful impression on them than if they just found somebody and called them and somebody came and did the work and there was 3 or 4 people and we just chose this one and whatever. Do you feel the difference of those two things?
Yes.
And you guys both know, that there's people that need the work done, so they look around and they find somebody and they call somebody and they come do the work and whatever. And that's how they feel about it. We've got to change that by having an identity to where people say, no, I hired these guys for a reason, on purpose, specifically because they, blah, whatever your identity is. Were you guys on the call that I did last hour?
I was on it for the beginning, and then I got a phone call, and I had to mute you out for about maybe
okay, it's fine. There's no penalty or going to the principal's office for missing calls. If you were, I was going to refer to it. Since you weren't, I'm going to refer to it anyway, but I'll just repeat what I had said. I was talking about an identity for a company that Ben and I were talking about yesterday with a company called Brighton's that they pride themselves on integrity, and they've been around for a really, really long time, 3 generations worth since 1955. And that's a company that's really, really easy to put together a really crappy, platitude-filled marketing campaign for. We've been in business since 1955. And integrity, you can trust, those kinds of things, right?
Right.
And I said, well, no, let's run with it, and let's just say it in a more powerful way. So we came up with this headline for the website, the identity. This is what we want people to know, and we want them to get a feel for what they can expect. It says, Heber Brighton started this company in 1955 when people were honest. They did what they said they'd do, and a man's word was his bond. And then the subheadline says, for us, nothing's changed. And then the subheadline, integrity beyond reproach means you'll never, ever have to worry about your project. Next subheadline, if you want stress-free, total peace of mind remodeling, you've come to the right place. Then we tell the story about how he started this business, and he was the only one in town in this neighborhood in Chicago back in 1955, and things have changed, and companies have come and gone. Most of them, do a pretty good job, but not necessarily. But we've withstood the test of time because we treat people like family, and we're built on integrity. And now the story is actually more interesting, and it makes more sense. And then we put together what we call the Brighton treat you like family articles of faith. Here's how we operate. Number 1, profit is good, but you never try to retire from remodeling your mom's kitchen. Number 2, all costs fully disclosed in writing up front before the job, no surprises. Next, if a problem pops up, open and honest discussion about the nature and scope of the problem and the solution. Next, take full credit when you do a great job, admit it when you mess up. Next, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. Now, this is the identity for that company. That's not your identity. That's a whole different thing, right? But you understand the concept. So now somebody comes to the website, they find this, they do business with this company, we integrate that into their advertising, their prepositioning, everything they do, so that by the time that they hire this company, it's been ingrained into their brains 23.5 times that this is the company that's been around forever, that does things right, that has integrity beyond reproach, and that treats us like family. And it wasn't just a trite slogan, it was an entire identity. So now they're a lot more likely to remember that company. Does that make sense?
Right.
And now this issue called confirmation bias kicks in. Have you heard me talk about confirmation bias before?
I don't think so.
Confirmation bias is a psychological principle that says that people will look for evidence to support what they believe, and they will discount and minimize evidence that goes against what they believe. So
Right.
Stated differently, if I hate Kobe Bryant as a basketball player on the Lakers, because I do, then no matter what he does, I'll find ways to minimize it and say that he's a jerk.
Right.
Meanwhile, somebody who loves Kobe Bryant will look at the exact same actions and attitudes and accomplishments and use it as proof that he's great. Well, how's that possible? I mean, just look at politics to see that you either love Obama or you hate Obama, and you're not in the middle. So this is called confirmation bias, and what we're doing is we're giving people reasons to love us, and they're going to look for those reasons as they do business with us, and they're going to notice the integrity and the family values way more than if you hadn't put that identity in place. So I know I'm kind of long-winded on this topic, but I want you to understand that identity is the foundation for getting referrals. My friend Dan Walt that runs Zen Windows in Columbus, Ohio, he's the 5-minute window guy. His slogan is relax, windows in 5 minutes. And he literally comes in, gives you a quote in 5 minutes, and leaves. His closing ratio is about 80%. People love doing business with Dan. And over 50% of all of his business is referrals. And he does nothing to foster them. He has no referral program. He doesn't pay for them. He doesn't ask for them. He doesn't do anything. He just knows that people love him, so they refer him. But it's because his identity is so strong. His identity is so clear-cut. He delivers on that promise so spectacularly that people remember him. He doesn't get lost in the river of 342 things you bought last month and you can't remember any of them because they all mix together. He stands out. And you think, well, we sell roofs. It's expensive. People are going to remember. No, they're going to remember doing the roof, but they're not going to remember the guy with the overalls and the pickup truck that came and did it, per se. So that's number one, is identity. Number two, this is a little bit of a tactic more than a principle, but there's a principle that supports the tactic. I recommend, are you guys I don't really know that much about you. Are you a roofing company primarily?
We primarily focus on the envelope of the house, so siding, windows, roofing, and gutters.
What's the average dollar figure for a job that you do?
Well, it's decreased lately because a lot of people are doing more repairs than full replacement and all those products, but I would say we're around the $6,500 mark. Okay, here's my strong recommendation to you. Out of your $6,500 sale, take $50 of it, or $25 at the minimum, and buy them a gift card for Chili's or for the local restaurant that everybody loves, whatever it is. I mean, if you're in a small town, make it the local restaurant that everyone loves. If you're in a bigger town, a bigger city, make it more of a chain type restaurant that they have access to multiple locations of, Outback, Red Lobster, whatever it is. It doesn't matter, but just something. And send it to them afterwards as a thank you. If you can't afford that because your margins are too tight, then raise your price by $25. So make your price $6,525. They'll never know the difference. Right. Send them this gift card afterwards. Send it in the mail or have somebody drop it off. If you've got too many jobs to really manage that effectively, then have somebody manage it through the mail. Send it to them. The letter that goes with it says as follows: Dear John, thank you so much for letting us put the siding on your house. It looks fantastic. It's night and day. We're so thrilled that you let us have this opportunity. We're honored to have your business because we know you have lots of choices when it comes to contractors. As a token of our appreciation, we wanted to give you, we wanted to treat you to dinner at Chili's. My personal favorite is the, whatever it is, the fajitas. Whatever you want, though, it's just a token of our appreciation. Thank you so much. We appreciate your business. We also want to send you this gift card as a way to say thank you in advance for any referrals that you might send us. I know that you may not be able to think of anyone right now that needs our services, but if it comes up in the future, we'd sure appreciate it if you would give our name and phone number and web address. Now, you don't have to give us any referrals to use this gift card. It is a sincere thank you, but if you do have any referrals, we sure appreciate those as well. If you want to, you can throw a couple quick sentences of identity to the previous identity. As you know, we're a company that prides ourselves on being a family business, family values, that puts integrity above everything else. If you know anybody else that wants to deal with that kind of a company, then we'd love to have their referral as well. So now here's what happens with that. The psychology behind that is reciprocity. So now they've given me $6,500, and I've taken the time to thank them, and I've done it in a sincere way. And now, while they're at Chili's eating that food, or maybe make it a restaurant that's a little bit unusual or a little bit different, or maybe one that's a little bit off the beaten path so that they remember it a little bit more. That might even be better. But still, that, you know, it's good and whatever. Yeah. And now while they're sitting there eating, they're thinking about you, and when they go to pay the bill, they know that you paid the bill, and that's going to be positive. And it's going to act as an exclamation point on a positive experience that they've just had with you over the last weeks or days or whatever it is. Now guess what's going to happen? Look what we've done. We've got a strong identity, and we put a positive exclamation point on the end of the experience. So now, 2.5 or 13.5 months later, when somebody says, man, my house is looking hammered, or hey, we're thinking about painting, or whatever, they'll say, hey, man, you guys should get the siding like we got. Yeah, we use this company Shands. Man, they're awesome. They're blah, 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 identity, identity, identity. We love those guys. Boom. There's your referral. There's your referral. Right.
Number
Let me
three.
throw this idea at you too, and I like that. We did that before with a cookie container, but that company went out of business and we stopped doing it. So we'd send, a tin of cookies. And the tin was a keepsake, basically, so kept our name around there. But I've also thought, I went to a seminar and they mentioned this too, which is a little over the top, but, actually going there myself as the owner, not just the project manager, and sitting down with the customer afterwards, meeting with them, making sure the project went well, and at that time, present them with a gift card, whatever it may be, and ask them for referrals. But, I think having an owner go there, sitting down, let them know I really care about your project. How did everything go? If we did a good job, they probably want to show me, what half of the hour with whatever they got, which hopefully is the case. And, kind of make it even a bigger impression, but I don't know if that's necessary. Have you had any experience with that, with another contractor that went to that extra effort to do that? And was it beneficial?
Well, I think that the key element here is how powerful was your identity on them, and how positive was their experience. I don't know that the owner showing up and personally saying thank you is necessary. I mean, it can't hurt. It can't hurt, but if you're talking about driving around and talking to 20 people a month, that's going to wear you down pretty quick. So on a practical level, I would say I would probably set it up to just send it over to them and mail them and make sure, or have somebody who normally would take a follow-up role, and it can be done just as effectively.
Okay.
I mean, think about the amount of work that you're potentially taking on there.
Yeah, and I think you're probably right in that. I guess to me, I don't think that's a great deal, but the fact of the matter is, okay, thanks a lot, see you later, appreciate the roof, or whatever the project was, and everybody's got a busy life, so it may impress them for 15 minutes, but probably the long-term effect is relatively the same based on what your potential.
Well, remember, I know these concepts are sort of, psychologically based, and it's hard to measure them and quantify them. But here's the key thing. The reason that the foundation number one is identity is because we want to make sure that as they do business with us, we're making a strong impact on their brain in terms of whatever it is you want them to know. Okay, you don't want to be just another contractor. And you can give me all of the, hey, we do things great, we're so much better, and it doesn't matter, because in their minds, you're just the guy that's coming in to fix this problem, and it's a transactional kind of thing. And what I'm trying to do is take it from more of a transactional kind of a situation to more of a relational type of a situation, and that's going to happen when they feel more invested in having chosen you for a specific reason, other than, well, you were available and you seemed nice and you seemed to have a good price. We got to go beyond that. Now, by the way, those are all the same things that make you close more deals in the first place.
Right. The one other item that we're doing on a long-term basis, which has been just a comedy of roadblocks, I guess, is getting a newsletter out, either monthly or quarterly, to our customers. But Market Sharp has changed your program, and Constant Contact has sort of shut us down, and we're eventually, I hope in the next 30 days, have that together, because that way we keep our name in front of them, like you mentioned, so that when the time does come up for referral, they remember who we are, especially if it's a year. Right?
What do you think about mailing out stuff like that? Do you think that, I'm just concerned that people are going to kind of unsubscribe, like they don't want you overfilling their mailbox. I know for me, when I get a postcard in the mail from somebody like a esthetician or somebody that I went to previously, but I hadn't been there in a while or whatever, and I get this thing in the mail, it's like, oh yeah, and I put it in my purse, and you know what I mean? And I kind of refer back to it. Do you think that mailing out like something that you can physically put in your hand as opposed to emailing?
Well, so here's the thing. I hate to sound like a broken record, but it all comes back to the identity. Because if they had a really positive experience and they believed that you were what you said you were and your promise of what you were was significant, then every communication you have with them afterwards is going to be that much more powerful. I mean, have you ever met somebody that was either famous or noteworthy in some way that you were really excited to meet them?
Yes.
Okay, now here's what you need to know about that person. They were just another human. They were just another person. They weren't any different than you or I biologically or physically or anything. They were just another person. So why was it that it was such a big deal to meet them? Well, because there's something about that person that meant something to you. And so now you recall that out of all the millions, probably not millions, thousands, I don't know, how many ever people you meet over the course of years of your life, you remember those experiences because they were more significant, because they meant more. And when you see that person on TV or you see that whatever, I mean, me and my wife play this dumb game that I'm sure other people play a variety of it. We play this game where if we see somebody famous somewhere, and it doesn't happen very often. We live in Dallas, not like famous people walking all over, or somebody that's on TV, then every time we see him on TV later, we're like, oh, hey, there's so-and-so. He's our friend. And it's just stupid. It's just being goofy. It's just something to say. But we notice it. Here's all I'm trying to say. If the experience is positive, if it gives them a little electric charge to do business with you and for you to fulfill, and then you give them that gift card, then the mailers or the emailers are going to make a lot more impact than if you didn't. So step one, identity. Step two, the exclamation point gift. Step three, yeah, stay in front of them. I would recommend mailing them something in the mail on a quarterly basis.
Okay.
You could do it if you said, oh, I want to do it more often. Okay, great. More often can't hurt. We don't want to be so often that that they go, oh, another thing from these guys. I wish they'd leave me alone. Does it have to be a newsletter? Not really. Can it be a newsletter? Sure, whatever. I don't care. But just get in front of their face. So they go, oh, yeah, those guys. And they see it, and it has a positive feeling that comes to light for just a second at least.
Right. That makes sense. Okay.
Now, email. Okay, yeah, email them stuff, but I never like
personal to me, the email.
I never like to rely on email to do heavy lifting in my marketing for me. I like to rely on it to do medium duty lifting or light lifting. Now, that's not true. There's some cases where email in and of itself works just fine, but this is not one of those cases.
Okay.
So there's the principle of
every quarter, it costs $1. So I think for $4 a year, we can farm our old customers for 10 years and feel pretty good about the expense.
Yeah, one thing you might also want to consider, this is, all of these things cost money. And if there's not an immediate return, people tend to get real antsy about spending the money. To send that gift card out, my recommendation is that you allocate that to sales expense or cost of goods sold in the job, no different than you cost out the nails and the gasoline for the trucks and all that stuff. But as you move forward, one thing you might want to consider is to allocate some money, maybe $50 of that job that you put into a fund that you spend later, okay? And what you might spend it later on is you might wait for a specific period of time to pass. So let's say that you put a postcard in the mail to them every quarter, and you count that against your marketing costs, okay? That's just normal marketing costs. But then you take this $50, you put it aside sort of into an escrow type account, and then maybe 2 years or 3 years after the job took place, you send them another gift.
Oh.
That says, hey, we were just thinking about you. It's been over 3 years since we put the new siding on your house. We hope that everything is still great with it. If there's anything that's a problem, please let us know. But just as a token of our appreciation, we wanted to send you whatever it is.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea too.
Well, it's a good idea, but it's one that people hate to execute because, well, how much money is that going to cost? Well, it's going to cost money. So, but does this stuff make a difference? And if you measure your referrals by how many did I get at the point when I asked them, you're almost always going to be disappointed. If you measure it in terms of what's your baseline right now, how many referrals that turn into jobs do you get? For the year 2011, how many did you get? Year to date, 2012, how many did you get? And at the end of 2012, how many did you get? And in 2010, how many did you get? Let's start to track this stuff. Now let's start to put this other stuff in place, and let's take a look. In 2013, how many do we get? in 2014. And you need to understand that when it comes to referrals, there's definitely a deferred, delayed reaction. It is not immediate gratification. So the money you spend and the energy you spend today is going to get you leads and referrals next year and the next year and the next year. So you got to think of it that way. It's hard to do. People hate to do it. They want to spend the money and get a lead right now. But you're bucking human nature. So all I'm trying to do is say, okay, let's work within the confines of the thing called human nature, and let's maximize it for ourselves. One of the things I also talked about earlier on the previous call is I talked about the concept that nature's goal is to destroy things and to take them out of order. Nature likes to take order and make it into disorder. Did you ever notice that?
Yeah.
I mean, just go take a patio table and go sit it outside and see what happens over the next 5 years. It's going to deteriorate and it's going to look horrible. I mean, nature likes everything good is going to be attacked, and it takes energy and force and labor to take disorder and make it into order. And really what we're talking about here is taking money, labor, capital, energy, effort, and we're talking about taking this disorder, which is people's sphere of influence that could potentially buy from you, which if you don't take specific, deliberate activity to organize it, it will never organize by itself. It just won't ever happen. And so by putting the identity in place and making sure from pre-positioning and website and your salesperson and your installers that every time that they turn around, they're getting a dose of your identity. Then making sure that you send this exclamation point thank you. Then putting things in front of them via email and regular mail on an ongoing basis. Then potentially putting a gift in their hands 2 or 3 years later. And you say, well, they might not even live there anymore. Okay, great. Send it to the person who lives there now. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
And we're putting order where it used to not exist. And in absence of these things, you're going to get situational results, which is somebody's going to happen to think of you and happen to send you over a referral, but it's not because you controlled it. It's not because you disciplined it. It's not because you focused it. It's because it was random. And you'll get a few random things here and there. And if you're really good at what you do, you'll get more because you've put the energy into being really good and you've overcome the forces of nature that want to take and make chaos. But you can also do these other things that we've talked about. I mean, I'm assuming that you do a good job before any of these other discussions ever happen.
We do.
So, sorry to be long-winded, but that's how I feel
We
about it.
try hard to do, yeah.
We don't shortcut.
But see, just trying hard to do good doesn't overcome the entropy of life that makes people forget you and not care about you and become irrelevant in their lives.
Right.
So anyway, that's what I have for you on referrals.
No, I like it. I think those are some really good ideas, and I like it. I think it makes, instant gratification probably isn't really that achievable, which is one of the things we're wondering if there's a better, way to get that referral at the end of the job, and it sounds like we just need to be patient on it.
Well, if your identity is strong and the gift comes in, it can increase those things. But don't expect it to, because at the end of all those things, if you ask somebody, do you know somebody that needs this, the answer probably, honestly, really is still no. It's not because they're being a jerk. It's not because they hate you. It's not because they thought you sucked. It's because I don't know anybody that needs siding. How would I know? I don't keep track of everything that my friends need.
Exactly.
How would I know what my friends need? Hey, I got a lot of really good friends that I have no idea if their roof's in good shape or not. How would I know? Also, oh, by the way, I don't know if they need new running shoes. I don't know if they need a new CD and a new computer. I don't know if they need a new cell phone or not. I don't know if they're looking for a new book recommendation or a new wristwatch or a new video camera or a new printer for their computer or a new trash can. And I'm just looking around my office and just naming random objects, sofas, desks, I don't know. I've got too many people I know that have too many different things in their lives that I don't have any idea what any of this status is. But I tell you what, if I'm out to dinner with my friend and he says, my gosh, our house looks like crap, we got to paint it, there's your referral.
Right. Maybe we've become best friends with Google because they seem to know immediately after I go search for something.
Yes. That is a good point. Become best friends with Google, and that takes energy and effort too. But nevertheless, that's it. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Hey, thank you very much.
All right. And that's it. We don't have any other. We had one other person that had submitted something, but they didn't make it onto the call. So we'll go ahead and wrap up. Thanks so much. We'll be back with you next week. We do not have a Tuesday morning ad clinic next week, but we do have a tactical marketing call of a topic that I need to look up because I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. But we'll talk to you then. Thanks so much. Bye now.
Thank you. Bye.